All
Okay.
right, we are recording. So,
All right.
hello, all right, man. Welcome. This is the first show of You Two in the Back, the Discord show. Uh,
This is the Discord show, which is off our heels. We just an idea that you and I had that could bring because we like hearing us our own voices, obviously, but we want to hear everybody else, and
exactly.
we just love talking
Yes,
about movies and shows and stuff like that. So this is a quick place to do that at. There's not really a time limit, nor is
no,
there like a requirement for a show breakdown. It's kind of a hang.
exactly.
But we do want to chat with everybody about what they thought about the first episode.
Exactly, yes.
Talk a little bit about where we plan to take this,
Exactly.
and even push out what our next episode will be. Dropping in a week. Is that right? A
Yep,
week?
1 week from today. And at the end of the show, we're going to have a little bit at the end where we're going to announce what that movie's going to be for our second episode.
Huzzah.
So
All
yes,
right.
so if you're watching this later, if you're watching this on YouTube, anything like that, there's going to be a Discord link below. I will put it in the links. It'll be everywhere that you can find us, social media. And all you have to do if you want to join us for next time is just join Discord. It's really easy to set up. And it's kind of, and we have our own private server. So once you're in our server and we let you in, it's just Richie, I, and all of our people and fans and people talking. And so, and this really cool setup that Richie told me about, and it's very cool, great way to talk to people. So I'm very excited to get in there, get into this. And speaking of, as we get into it, let's do this. What do you think about this, Richie?
Wow.
It's our adoring crowd. Yes,
They're cheering us on. All right.
there we go. And I have things, great things for our show, like
Oh God. What did you do? You found yourself a soundboard, is
I
what it
did
sounds
find
like. Is that
myself a
what?
soundboard. So jump in, listeners, for that. So again, this is a live show, and it's really cool. If you're not familiar with Discord, Richie and I have the stage, and if you want to jump in, you just have to jump on in the stage. We will uh, say, "Come on up," and then you can talk to us. It's kind of like an online radio show, which is pretty cool.
Yes. And as we build an audience, it might be harder and harder to get in. But as we said, now this is our first one. So feel free to chat about anything you want. Typically, Zach and I will talk about the movie we did on the podcast. So if
Exactly.
you guys have any stories right now, if you have about like Heart of Ice or anything like that, I'd love to hear it. If it's about just the animated series and what it meant to you, I'd love talking about that.
Exactly.
Um,
Well,
Zach,
and I think
Zach and I will also tell our stories too.
exactly. Well, and I think that that's a great opportunity to say that Richie and I talked about it because we had so many people ask about the animated series and if we're going to continue on with that. And
Oh yeah,
we're probably not going to be doing that on the main podcast feed, but once we get a Patreon set up, that is something we are
yeah,
definitely thinking about doing. So,
yeah.
Batman
We'll
fans, do
knock out
not
like series. Yeah.
exactly. So, Batman fans out there, do not worry about that. This was just an example, one of our favorite episodes. But we will, if you're interested in that, look to the future. More of that is coming. So, but yeah, Heart of Ice. Our first episode, Richie. I was just gonna say,
Hmm.
it's now up on Apple. It's now up on Spotify, on lots of places where you
You
get
got us
your
on a bunch of stuff, buddy. Like
exactly,
I have a Pocket Cast is what I use, which is a random app, and I still found us. So I'm very excited to see our accessibility.
exactly.
Um,
So,
my
oh yeah, no.
Go
So
ahead, buddy.
no. I was just gonna say, yeah. So we're everywhere. If you're listening to that, the big news is, we also got logos. We also have some merch that are coming for Richie and I, and we're going to be handing some stuff out in the upcoming weeks. So that's very
Hmm.
exciting. So things are cooking right now. So we're very excited.
They are.
And our very first episode, we got quite a few people to listen. Just got the analytics back. Even had people listening today. And so for a brand new show, having so many new
Really, we
people.
had someone listen today.
Yep,
That's
we
great.
basically we since we've launched, of course we had more people at the beginning, and we get more people during the weekend. But basically, we have
Hmm.
one new person listen a day.
That's fantastic. I want to know when we do get people in and start talking to us. I really am interested in how many people tried to watch it with the episode. I
Yes.
talked to a few people and I got a lot of I kind of watched it in my car. I watched or listened to you guys while I was playing my video games. And like I said from the start, there's no wrong way to listen to this.
Oh no.
I wanted to know how difficult it would be to sync while you're watching
Yes.
and listening. I want to hear that.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah, I tried to make
it
it
was
as
one of our
easy as
biggest worries.
possible. Yep. And I spent a lot of time in the editing making sure that it, like you said, tried to make it sync up. Um,
Oh yeah.
so yeah, I would
Well,
love to hear that too. I would love to hear what people said. Of course, one of the funniest things we heard was we'd like you to do longer episodes, like a full movie, which we are going to be doing.
yes, that's
Um,
actually the point of the podcast. We're
we
going to do movies. That's
yes,
the
we're just giving you an example, so that people, can kind of jump in. And that's another thing that I heard, that it was a great podcast for people to jump in who are not into the geek comic book media sphere, and they could follow along. They enjoyed it. So, I mean,
good.
I think that's kind of the vibe we're going for.
Well, while we wait for questions, if we get any today, why don't we talk a little bit about the kind of behind the scenes stuff that they won't ever hear, but we can
I
talk
love it.
about it. Um, we have big plans for our podcast. It's very humble. It's very daunting, but I feel very committed to what we're doing. And we took a
Absolutely.
lot of time in the front end to make sure we decked out our library, right? So Zach,
Yes.
how many hours did we record on our first day?
So we recorded 6 hours of content on the very first day of recording.
Right.
If you want to talk about, meeting, eating, doing a little bit of that,
Yeah,
Richie and I were
right.
together for about 8 hours that first
That
recording
is correct.
um,
Yes.
session, because Richie and I, that's one of the things. Richie and I are both veterans of past podcasts, and we've seen the
Yeah.
pitfalls, the good things, the bad things, what happens. And one of the hardest
Hmm.
things to do is to launch a podcast, make sure that you have enough stuff in the can or that you can meet up. And then the second hardest thing is just follow through on a podcast. So, as long as you can get some of that headache out of the way, and that means buying some good mics, that means looking into whatever you need to, and then also, like Richie said, talking about it for a long time beforehand, doing meetings, doing notes, all that. And now,
Hmm.
we just recorded a week ago, and I feel like I'm really excited because it feels like I think now we can just start getting into a nice humming rhythm for the next year,
Hmm.
and just start
Hmm.
hitting some. We already have our next movie picked out, so we already have, just like a comic book company, we already have the fourth, the fifth, the sixth already in talks,
Yeah.
already in works episodes, but we're here to talk about the first one and the second one. But again, guys, that's the
Hmm.
kind of work we're putting in behind the scenes, because we know how hard it is to keep it up, keep it good, and that's what
Hmm.
Richie and I are going to be doing. So that's kind of a little bit of the behind the scenes. Is
Yeah.
we're
That is definitely it.
and also have fun, because I don't know about you, but rewatching some of these movies for this podcast has really
Well,
made me think about
yeah.
stuff again.
I mean, for me, that is the first reason I'm doing this podcast
Yeah,
is just
absolutely.
an excuse to rewatch my favorite movies. And talk to someone that actually wants to hear all my nonsense. My
Yes.
partner Megan, unfortunately, I'll even then on my fun watch. I don't know if you do this, but like I'll learn a crazy good fact, and
Oh
then I
yeah.
need to tell somebody
Yep.
because we have like a week before, or even 3 weeks before we record, and I'm just like, that's such a cool thing. Why didn't I know that until now? And it's so funny that I have she'll stop me. She'll be like, no, is this going to be part of your podcast thing? I was like, yes, it is. She's like, well, why don't we just wait? It's
That's
good point. Good point.
that's yeah, basically my partner the same. and a lot of people, and that's one of the things that I love, and that's one of the things that I really excited to talk about with Richie is that we both have so many different comic book experiences. We've been comic book fans and comic media fans our entire lives, and so
Hmm.
we all come at it with the it's hard. We come at it with the exact same perspective, but a completely different perspective. Because you're a Batman guy, I'm a Superman guy. You
Yeah.
started, your first five favorite comics weren't my first five favorite comics, but
Oh yeah.
we've all grown up the same way, going and watching the Batman movies in the '90s, going, that's it, that's going to be the
Mhm.
best we get, and
I don't want
then
to talk too much about our movie that's coming up in the future, but I
mm,
will say that that's a great example of you and I from different perspectives, right? Like,
yes,
you and I are extremely similar in a lot of terms: comic book love, obsession, hype, getting to know the things behind the scenes. We're not really okay with just liking something. We kind of want to know, like, who wrote that, who edited that, why, like,
exactly,
how did the production go, um, but when we watched our third movie, our third choice, like, there's a clear concept of how that movie hit you and what you take with it every time you watch it, and,
yes,
and though I love that movie, it's not the one that grabbed me,
sure,
and it's really fun sitting there across the room from you
yeah,
and watching you, like, just kind of relive it and embrace and kind of spill your heart onto the mic, for everyone to see. And my movie will come with that too. But like, we
absolutely,
both
yes,
have we both have that different thing that actually is kind of like motivating us and pushing us forward. And I
yes.
think that's the biggest example of our different perspectives on each
No,
case.
no,
So
absolutely, no, absolutely. You're right. It's yeah, watching the like you said, that movie that we just recorded was really great and fun, and yeah, it really it just made me I felt really good about our episode. I felt like, yeah, that's my case in court for that movie. If so,
yes,
we did
yes,
have an audience member. They just left. Come on back, audience member. I want to try out some of this cool stuff. Um,
yes, if you
but
can.
if you can, yes, because I'd like to try this because I believe you should be able to. Um, when we get really big, they should be able to ask questions, and we could like pick them out, and then we can click on them and all
Yeah,
sorts of
that is
stuff.
my hope. That's my hope for sure. Is what I'd like this to turn into, as we progress, is more of a, Zach and I talk for a couple of minutes or so. Then we start bringing up people to tell their stories. I want to hear
Absolutely,
your voice. I want to hear. I want to hear how things affected you, how cinema or comic books have reached out to you, and how you take that on day to day,
exactly.
like we do as well.
And if you have a
So while we
crazy
don't have
story, or
people,
yeah,
yeah, while we don't have people, you and I will just kind of talk about what it is that makes this and kind of the behind the scenes actions. And we'll look into the future at the end of this, and tell you what's coming up.
exactly, which I am very excited about. We have a lot of promotion for that one, and
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, very good. I'm very excited. I've watched that movie many times in my life, and watched it many times since we've done the podcast. So,
Yeah,
all right, so let's jump into Heart of Ice really quick. Just talk about,
sure.
really love that was the very first podcast. That'll go into my memory bank of things I love about that episode. It was the first
Well,
one.
let's talk about how we landed on it. Like, you and I
Oh,
decided that we would do a podcast that was going to be about watching and talking along, right?
yes,
We came up with this podcast because of our old podcast, and you and I did Batman versus Superman together.
yes, the entire three
From
hour
that,
cut.
we did, and from that moment, I think you and I both knew that that was something we wanted to do again.
Yes,
Um, we love podcasting, and we love that, and we were just like, that's it, that's our thing. So we had to decide how were we going to introduce everybody to that kind of concept, and we were like, well, let's do like a half show where we tell everybody about it, and then we actually like just kind of do a episode, and then we were like kind of talking about it.
it
We had
exactly.
written down, we wrote down separate um, separate sheets, so we didn't influence each other on which one we were going to pick.
No.
My favorite part is that both of us landed on Batman the Animated Series. I
Exactly.
don't think we had the episode locked down, but we did have the series locked down. Like
Yes.
that was going to be the first, right?
Yes.
Is that right?
No, exactly right. Yes. I specifically wanted to do Heart of Ice because that's my favorite episode of the entire series, even though I love the whole
Mm-hmm.
show. But
Oh, and I want to do Leather on Wings.
yes, exactly. You said Leather on Wings,
Yeah.
or also there's the the one with the famous the Joker fish that my mind is
Yes.
love that
Yes.
episode too. There's
mhm.
the Gray Ghost. I mean, there's a ton of great episodes, but I
Right.
said Heart of Ice, and you said animated series was my gut shot too, and so we just said, yeah, let's just do that one because that
Right.
one, like you pointed out in the episode, won Emmys and won awards, um,
Right.
that
Yes,
one,
because arguably we wanted to do the first episode, but the first episode was actually a Christmas episode.
yes,
It was uh the Joker one. It wasn't supposed to be the first episode. It was actually slotted 14th in the series, but as production went along, they had to push out a Christmas episode first, and then they did Leather on Wings, which was supposed to be the first episode. However, that is all messed up on any streaming service
yeah, very
because they go
messed
with
up.
they go with like account numbers. It's really weird. But if you have your DVDs, they actually put those in release order for you.
Yeah, that's yeah. So it can be a little confusing, but it's one of the best episodes, and we wanted to make it, like I said, it was a small 25-minute episode so that people can get the vibe. Because, like Richie said, if you want to just listen to it and you just want to hear fun facts and kind of want to see the movie in your mind, if you've seen it or if you haven't, that's totally cool. That's up to you. But if you want to sit down
Mm-hmm.
with a big screen TV or whatever you do and hit play and do that and pretend like you're sitting there learning some facts. And we also hope that some of these movies, people will actually sit down and watch. Uh,
Right.
I actually had some
That's my
friends say, I kind of gave them the inside scoop, and they said, "Oh, good, I'll have a reason to watch that movie now." And I was like, "You've never seen that movie, the one we just recorded?"
right.
And I
And
was,
they really never
yeah,
seen it.
and I was
That's
appalled.
interesting.
I was appalled and horrified, but that's me. And
Right.
but again that's
Started crying on the spot.
exactly.
But
But
why?
but I am happy that they're gonna give that us a shot and watch that movie now with us. And that's kind of what they said, was that they never wanted to give that movie a shot, but they know with us they could sit and we'll give them a true blue kind of an honest opinion as comic fans and as lovers of the media, what
Mhm.
what to expect, sort of a thing. And that's honestly what I think that you and I are trying to do is, whether you like the movie we pick or not, we hope you sit down and give it another shot or another look, or a first time watch and just go, oh, okay, I never thought about it that way, or oh, this storytelling makes a lot of sense if you think about it from years and years of history.
Mhm.
And we totally understand. We've had so many conversations over the years with people about movies where they said this makes no sense, and then Richie and I go, but don't you know this? And it's all this comic history, and they go,
Mhm.
oh no, I that just really makes no sense to me. And we go, oh, okay, I guess
Yeah.
we need to explain that. So that's kind of another thing
Yeah.
where that the show comes from, and it's not really like a explain to you podcast, but it's just to help kind of get that mode along, to get that, why is the tone like this? Why is the movie like this? Why are they pointing this stuff out? Sometimes people
Right.
see that stuff and they go, oh, the movie's not well made, or it's hokey or whatever. And then you go, oh no, that's done for a purpose. Sometimes, not always, it can make it better for you.
And on that level, like I've actually been in scenarios where I didn't like something, and I go to a lot of Comic-Con panels and things like that.
Sure.
And when I listen to the creator talk about what went in their mind or what was going through their head, or even like um, their original idea versus what was edited, right?
Yeah.
I find bits of things that even I disliked, I actually love. And
Sure.
that all
Yep.
comes from just kind of diving deeper into the story and not seeing it as the face of it or what was even presented.
No,
I think
exactly.
the world got a hit of that with like Snyder's Justice League. You
Yes.
can kind of see um, just the possibilities open up. Regardless of what you think of it, you can just see the possibilities of it open up with a full story dedicated to one idea or one perspective versus the many that can kind of mud it down.
Exactly. No, for sure. 100%. Um, and so, again, we really love doing that episode, but now, starting next week, we're going to be going into full movies.
That's
Uh,
correct. We are you after listening to the first episode, are you already like ready to make changes and things that we couldn't do for the second one,
oh, yeah, for sure.
like
Yeah.
editing wise?
Oh, yeah.
I thought you would be. I figured after you listen to the first pop, you're like, I can make a change there and I can make a change there. And especially after we heard everybody talk to us personally about like the things that they liked and disliked,
Yep,
um,
exactly.
I kept telling everybody, okay, well, none of that's going to happen in the first one. And we made very minor changes on the third one,
Yes.
but you'll start seeing those because of how far out our recording process is.
Yes.
We want to hear all your takes. Just know that it may be a while before you see that take happen on a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. It's an ongoing show. Richie and I, we have to meet up at a certain time and record, and we're trying to do that,
Mm-hmm.
monthly and every couple weeks, and get ahead of that
Right.
game, which is where we're at. But so if you send us a message or something after hearing an episode, and then it's not fixed the next episode, just know it's on the radar. We will get there. It's always a learning curve. We got more. Richard can tell you I have a whole table full of equipment. We're trying new equipment, getting
Yeah.
upgrades all the time. Uh, Looking into buying a really nice fancy camera for our YouTube show and all that good
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So yeah, it's coming, guys. But so far, I'm really happy with the response that we've gotten from people, and got quite a bit of listeners since we got on
Yes,
Apple and Spotify and everything. That really helps.
it definitely will, and I'm really excited about this particular thing. Um, I genuinely like the engagement we'll have with the listeners. A lot of
Absolutely.
podcasts are just kind of out there in the ether, and I'm excited to turn this one into a kind of a community concept of like,
Oh well,
yeah, you guys hear us to start.
I think this is a great way to
Go ahead.
announce the 1 week. I think we should continue this 1 week before we release the next episode. We
Mm-hmm.
hop on, we announce what the next episode's going to be, and take listener questions. And again, I am
Yep.
recording this, so I'm going to try and put up the video for sure. I will try and figure out how
Yeah,
to take the audio, and maybe someday we can do a mailbag show. That would be kind of fun. But the sky's the limit
absolutely.
with the ideas. The big thing is to engage with you, and once we have a whole crowded audience, that'll be a ton of fun, and we can answer
Also,
a lot of questions.
if you are hearing us in these voices and you didn't join our Discord this one, don't take it any offense, don't feel bad.
No,
We're doing this on the fly, so we weren't actually expecting anybody to join us.
no.
But what we
And this
wanted to
is
do,
a test again for us too.
yes,
It
it's a test of concept. So
Yes,
our goal is, and even if you're scared to use Discord, if you know Zachary personally, or normally you use Facebook or something, out to us, the podcast, whatever. We'll set you up so that next month you'll be right here on the stage with us, telling us your cool stories. Okay, that's your goal for the next month, is to try to find us, reach out. If you're not really comfortable with Discord, talk with one of us, and we'll get you set up real nice to where
exactly.
it'll be a click of a button and you can join us.
Exactly. And the other really cool thing about this stage that they have put on Discord that Richie and I are using is that if you don't want to join in on voice and you just want to listen, and if you want to just
Yeah.
chat, you can do that as well. So we're hoping to
Mhm.
have a full chat room going on the side where people can talk, so you can talk there. Richie and I will be jumping in there when that's going, and we'll be able to talk. That's one of those things where when you jump in here, you're going to be able to request to go on stage with us, and then once we say yes, then you can come on. But if you never want to go on stage, you never have to. You can just sit and listen. You can sit and chat and just have a good time. That's up to you too. So it's
I
really
think
up to
that's
you.
my favorite. Yeah, I think that's my favorite part about this is like if you're more of a texter, you can text. You
Yes.
know, you're like, oh, every time I start speaking, I just start bumbling and I can't do anything.
No,
You can
exactly.
plot your thoughts and just text it right up. So
Exactly. And I love this because this is kind of like a radio show with our own people, and then we could just take questions and we don't have to worry about, setting up phone lines or any of that crazy
right.
stuff. So
Yeah,
again,
and that I mean
however,
that is the best part. Free. This is all free.
yeah, it's
You
it's
know, this
it's
is something.
free, and Discord is really nice to use. I've been really impressed
Hmm.
so far, and I've been impressed with this first recording of this stage that Richie told me about, and it's really cool. So, yeah, we'll.
Well, why don't you and I
Oh, is it
talk
time?
about what's coming? I think it's time. I think we start talking about. Uh oh.
Oh, is that an
Is
alarm?
that clearly it's an alarm? So yes, it's
It's
time to
that
announce our
time.
next recording. Um, so Zach and I got together. We talked about our first episode, and then with
Yes,
that, we actually talked about our first release and movie too.
exactly.
Um, another a little bit behind the scenes is Zach and I will make three picks typically, try to find which one we both can agree on,
Yep,
and then we go from there. Um, this one, I think, landed almost unanimously. I think we
it
both said
it did.
this is what we should hitch our name to start with, and I think it's something that everyone has either seen or it's so big that everyone's heard about it. You know,
Yeah,
this is an
absolutely.
everyone piece,
Yes,
so it won't be a shocker, but I think it's going to be a blast.
absolutely.
Zach, why don't you let them know?
I am Iron Man.
We are going to be watching Iron Man. Here we go.
All
Got some.
right.
Vacation's over. Welcome home, son. Put up the scanner, will you? What happened over there? I had my eyes open. I want to protect the people I put in harm's way. A man with a dozen keys can rule all of Asia. Yeah, I can fly. Let's see if this dog can hunt. So the upgrade is complete. Tell you what, throw a little hot rod red in there. What's going on here? Let's face it, this is not the worst thing you've caught me doing.
There it is, Iron Man.
There it is. Yes.
Speculation.
Let's see. We
Yeah.
got
Iron Man 1.
Very cool.
we got.
Might want to look into it.
Yes, I've added some Iron Man soundboards, and my plan, everybody, is to add a couple sounds from every movie. So eventually, we will have a soundboard of millions of comic
Ah,
book films, and then we could have some fun.
that sounds great. I'm enjoying that. Um, all right, so it's Iron Man. Obviously, that's the
2008, 15 years ago, man.
yes.
How old do you
That's
feel?
that's that's a little rough. I don't like saying that out loud, but it
No,
is incredible. It started something that was huge, and it was obviously a great pick for our first movie. So
exactly. We kind of
we're
thought there was a couple of ones that we want to get to, the aforementioned Richie pick and my pick that we eventually did get to do. We'll get to his very
mhm.
soon. But we both
Yeah, oh
agreed
yeah.
that when you talk about comic book movies post 2008, the two movies you're going to think of are Dark Knight and Iron Man. And so
That's it. Yeah.
so we were gonna go. So we wanted to go Iron Man. It's still ongoing. It's, we better jump on it now because there's still gonna be a new movie in a couple months, and we love it. And it's a great entry point for everybody. I mean, before that movie, there was, there weren't kids running around with Iron Man outfits, and now there is. Everyone knows who Tony Stark is, and so we thought this is a great place. But as we said in the episode, Richie and I have a great ton of ideas for crazier episodes and movies. So it's not just going to be Marvel and DC. We got some crazy fun ones hopefully you guys have never seen before.
That is, honestly, I hope that's one of the takeaways from this podcast is showing off a comic book film that you didn't know was a comic book. Those are coming. They're a little further down the line than we wanted it to be, but that's because the real world events actually manipulated a few of our choices.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
We're gonna stick with our plan, but we will definitely be getting you some very obscure or obtuse versions of comic book movies that you may not even know were based off of comic books.
1,000,000%. But again, we want to make it great for everybody, and you can't talk comic book movies without talking about Marvel Studios. So that's going to be episode number 2, everybody. 1 week from the recording of this. So that will be June 9th.
June 9th is the release, yes.
Yep, so June 9th will be the release. So it should be just hitting all your Apple, Spotify, podcast, wherever you get them. If you sign up for us, that it'll be there next Friday. And if you want to join our Facebook group, our Discord server, follow us on Twitter, we're going to be talking about Iron Man throughout the entire month. So, we're going to be doing behind the scenes, we're going to be doing trivia, talking to, there's going to be videos that I found where they talk to the people who made, behind the scenes stuff, and so we're going to be doing all that. It'll be a ton of fun. It's going to be an Iron Man celebration for a month, so please come and join us.
We'll end this one with, right off the bat, just saying thank you.
Absolutely.
We really do appreciate any time you guys give us the shot. Every single one of you that downloaded it, even if you didn't listen to it, even if you're hearing this many years later and you downloaded it from forever ago, right? It just means a lot to us that you gave us a shot at all. Those downloads help, the sharing helps. We will ask for the community jump in to help build us up a little bit. But we can't do any of it without you guys giving us a shot and doing something that may or may not be in your comfort zone. So thank you again for all the downloads, all the advice, all the suggestions. And hopefully we'll get to hear from you guys next month at our little Discord show.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. It was really fun. Really enjoyed this. And again, this is going to be the hangout. So again, next month, come out and hang out with us.
That is my hope, is that this is just the hang. It's not a big production thing.
Nope.
I'm just chilling in my house. I know Zach's just chilling.
Exactly.
We'd love for you guys to chill with us. We will catch you next time for sure.
Yeah, let's talk some Iron Man, everybody.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Appreciate it.
All right. Bye-bye.